Big long one might still be processing. Big long video might still be processing. So for anybody that tunes into this that has not, and I probably wouldn't have came back right away and they can comment on that one too. But if that other one hadn't had a couple people stay for a little while, and a couple of them and I know this doesn't sound like big numbers, but for whatever reason with this channel, it's been hit and miss. I don't. It's just not always not always the people that it's meant to be. Not that it's specific hugely, but meant to see it. I guess, or I mean. So I guess that's why sometimes people come in and they're like, it doesn't resonate. But it did seem like it was before, and yeah, they could always come back to the channel and check and see if there's a part 2, or just watch what I did do or whatever. But I found that it motivated me. That the things I was picking up on, it's like I've had this ability for a long time. It's like, in a way, it doesn't surprise me, or I mean, but I watch like some of the famous ones do it, and they when they're spot on about something, they're like, or they show amazement. And I don't think it's as much that they're surprised that they picked up on something, as much as sometimes what it is, and just how it unfolds. So I don't know if it will show afterwards because of the settings I had there, but now I have it so that any that this one gets will. It's a feature, and I talked about it in one of my other videos today. It's been a very podcasty day, where I said, maybe it's so that the people that commented while it was live most likely got a response verbally. If not, that's why you have the option to select the setting for it to show afterwards. But if you know that you do that, and that you usually catch those comments, then you might want to divvy it up between the ones that came in while live and any that came in afterwards. And I actually think it might even be well, maybe that's if you select it to show, you can still hide it if you want to. I don't know. So it's been a very podcasty day. And, oh, wow, 2 people here. Welcome. I've got to ask, just out of curiosity, and they left. So I'm thinking not, although one of them, even though she was here for a while, I sensed it was a woman. But you know what? When I think back about what just transpired in that previous video, I could see how, when I sit and think about it for a moment, how emotional that must have been. You come on YouTube one day, not expecting to get a mini reading. I haven't really thought of this before. What that would be like. I know that when I watch some of the ones that I follow, and it's like something resonates, it's almost like that, but not quite. So maybe it's kind of like maybe she wants to come back and watch, and she's kind of like, did DeMarcus, or whatever his name is, really just visit me through this guy? Like, who is this guy? Where is he from? He's being so generous to just kind of, although, I wouldn't mind a little bit of, appreciation of what cameras, and even a little bit of cash. But I don't know how that works on here. That's another thing, but it's set up for it. So, but, and then maybe like, just trying to take it all in. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're also sensing some things themselves. I was just going to take a moment of just being quiet and silent. One, to honor those that have passed, but two, because I did just do an almost 2 hour podcast. Uh, but right as I was about to do, okay, I will. Somebody came, but they left. Maybe it was the person that was here before. Just like, oh yeah, and I want to go back and watch it because my loved one was definitely there. And I really think that the person wouldn't have stayed at two people. They wouldn't have stayed, and it's not that people don't believe in this. I don't see it. I do very often because it's mostly for my own loved ones. So that's just how it happens. But they wouldn't have stayed for 15, 30 minutes, whatever, about that. And one of them wouldn't have commented those emojis, which I don't entirely know what was trying to be kind of said with them. And they seem a bit shy, and maybe, like I say, just going through the emotions. But he is this soul that I was channeling, who had some hard times in life. Ironically, like my cousin, who I also channeled the same video, and I didn't even put that together until just now because it was so organic. I sense that he's very calm and at peace, and you know, happier now. And what's interesting is that even though I'm feeling not bad while I'm doing this, and other than physically, during the day I've not felt too bad. He's really and some of us can't pick up on this, and some of us that can don't always. But I sense that he's really just kind of just looking out for me. He he's a very caring person. It's like, yeah, you gotta breathe, my man. That's right. Actual focused breathing. So I know you were trying to keep up with me. You were trying to, you know, talk to the viewers. You were trying to keep up with your own head, but just take it a little slower. You'll be all right, man. I must say, it is also rare. I mean, not so much the customers are just, people in general, but it's a little bit rare to have an unfamiliar spirit in the house. 'Cause, yeah, I don't open up to agree with them. Doesn't mean that I'm always the lucky person, but I don't. So if I have an N plus, I can sense his type of energy. But if I have an spirit that's communicating with me that I don't know, I mean, it usually is good energy. I can only think of one example where it wasn't, and basically, sorry, my arm's just a bit cold, but basically, they scratched the top of my hand. It's interesting because this also connects to a library story, kind of sort of. They scratched the top of my hand. They wanted to get a message to his sister, and I didn't know her personally. I knew her from my neighborhood, kind of, and I couldn't get it to her, and I wrote it into a binder at one point in time, and I tried to carry it with me. And I think one time I did run into her on the bus, and she picked up something about my energy that I was just going about my day out and about. And it's not that I certainly don't try and put bad energy out there, but I don't know. I mean, and people can be just friendly, it's true. But when I look back at it, it's just we were on the bus, not that I didn't have a medium, possibly others in the library, and right around that same area. I don't remember how close to when this happened. He didn't say much specific. He just said that he was one, and I don't know. Actually, not that long ago, watched back old Facebook video. It's ironic because a couple of the online readings I've seen other people getting, I've seen them have their phone out recording it, which I don't notice all that often. But I guess I got a little bit of a recording, and it's an old Facebook video. But I seem to remember it was very brief, and there was other noise, and I really couldn't make out much of it. But I remember she looked at me like it was more than just giving me a friendly look as much as it was, do you have something to tell me, kind of thing. But again, we were on the bus. I didn't know her very well. I didn't know if she'd be receptive. I didn't know what to make of it. And then she got off the bus not long. It wasn't. We weren't on the bus together for very often. At the or at the same, for very long. That. But that was the only time, and I'm good with that. You know. Interestingly, the soul that we were channeling in the previous video, what was it? But he's actually saying, you know what? Now that I've seen you do what you can do, I hope my loved one will come back and figure out a way to connect with you and send you a thank you, perhaps even of a monetary value. He says, you know what? You've got mad skill, bro. And I mean, I know some of the slang. I'm not used to using it. This is what's coming into my telepathy from him. He's like, the problem with the way I talk is I can take that statement. I can take that back what I said. No, I'm just not used to verbalizing that. Well, I'm not, and it's not just a cultural thing, really. Come to think of it, but this doesn't happen very often. And this guy is really like it's 3 o'clock here. He's really he says it's for you too, bro. He says, as far as loved ones, but like we were meant to meet today. He says, meant to connect. I've gotten the sense already, and I honestly think even with kind of his personality, like he'd tell me if I'd previously known him. Um, you say it's mostly my loved ones, and even that not super often, but lately it has been more. And again, but like I know it's not constant, and it's not distressing. So, and I know because I've been doing this since I was 25 and 38. You know, he says that's real cool. He's interestingly saying that he did try to get through to a famous medium once, like someone who's more big name. And he says, and part of me wants to hear that he was able to and it was successful. He says it was one of those situations where it's like it was a message for somebody else, but it also kind of worked with somebody else that was near for somebody else that was near them. And the second person was his loved one. So they didn't essentially get read, but he said he could tell that they had a good experience, and he actually says it was actually really funny because even though the guy was good, so I think I know what he's talking about, although there's at least 3 possibilities. He says even though the guy was good and mostly wasn't channeling him, there was a moment where something he said did get communicated. He was trying to, communicate with the medium, and it was like an interception, which is ironic actually, because I have a video the other day where I say something about an angel interception. I can't remember. But I don't think it was. I'd have to look back. But so he says, but this time it actually worked, and he's just earlier when I was upstairs, I felt like he was saying this is cray cray in a good way. I don't have to keep rolling. We can associate off camera a little bit, but I don't have to not either. But my bladder's speaking to me again, so I'm going to go do that. And he's just like, ah, like he's just so excited that that he can communicate. There will be times where I'm distracted, or I almost kind of feel that now, or I'm just too tired, or I can't pick up on it. It's not very much there for this night. I'm trying to remember. There was that girl named Marianne. I'm trying to remember if there was ever another soul that kind of became a random friend. No, I have enough of my own loved ones to channel that, some of them I don't very often. Some more than others. I know my first one was always my dad. My first special, you know, like, you know. But he's since said, as long as you're channeling someone and that's doing something for you, he'd like it to be him more often. And it has been a couple times, but not a lot. But you get, it says, I'm just, even though I do this, like, it's one thing when it's my own loved one. It's not that I don't trust him, but it's just it's an interesting feeling to feel like there's somebody slightly unfamiliar in our home, and they're not even a loved one, which has happened a little bit, but not often, of someone else that I know. He's smiling. He's sitting here with a smile on his face. This flash visual I get. Oh, no, I don't mean to make you feel weird, he says. I'm going to try and keep this under an hour. I don't know what to expect. I don't, I'm sure it'll be amusing and hopefully enlightening. But so for the person that just tuned in, if you haven't been, in or seen the other one, what's happening here is kind of unique. So I'm a medium that channels mostly my own loved ones, and that's just how it happens. And the viewer left, so I'm not going to say. He's like, yeah, you know what? As soon as they leave, stop thinking about them, stop acknowledging them. He says, yeah, my loved one may have done that at one point earlier, and that's an exception that I would make. He says, maybe you will connect with them again sometime. I don't know if it says new subscriptions or anything like that. But very tempted to go into it. But the scam is the bots, the AI. But very tempted to go and say, so anybody got the rainwater in here? Or watch me later see a post. I was watching this YouTube video and somebody, and it's like it's me that sees it. Would that be funny? It's like, you gonna do that thing you have to do or what? Okay, if you make me. It's like, I'll make you. Just kidding. Oh, man. I just heard him giggle. to anybody that's not had these experiences, I know it might seem a little cray like you said, but if you have, or you just have a level of belief, or you've seen other people that have, or whatever, yeah, like I know I'm not cray. I know that this is real because I wouldn't think I'm crazy to feel my own loved ones and the special experiences that I've had. I don't know if anything that was said while I was up at the stairs got heard, but it was funny because I went to go and get my yes, watch in this mode. But was that just trying to tell me that I had something new? There's something I do quickly want to do. But yeah, the computer that's usually in the other room I had down here. I was going to go look at it quickly, but in the other room, but it's here. Huh. Well, I just loaded it. That's weird. And I'm just making sure you got my emails. I was curious because I thought I may have gotten us a new subscriber on YouTube. It's kind of something interesting that happened. It wasn't super in depth or yet, but it's just something kind of cool. And I'll be on the phone in just a moment. And I'm just talking to a viewer that just tuned in. But yeah, just wanted to make sure you got my emails and about the banquet. Okay, talk to you later. See you soon. And the viewer just left. Now, what's interesting though is when I look at emails for a moment here, it does not show this one as being live. It shows the previous one and the other two. It also, under the previous one, kind of validating, is suggesting we follow somebody on another site, and it says the name Mark, and then something that makes me think. I'm seeing something that makes me think possibly. Yeah, but how do they know? If this wasn't spam and it's marked as spam, it would be like saying how they came to know of them. Where is the it's weird. There's a category in our both our emails are different, but it just was checking something for a moment. There's a category called forums, and there is things about YouTube comments, but the one that we got earlier does not show. ABC News, CB. Anyway, the guy may have been from Cuba, but I don't think so. I kind of do want to slow down for a little bit. You know, I posted a couple of long videos today and that. But that was very interesting what transpired. And that it seemed to resonate with a couple people. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I kind of am. and I'm certainly happy about it. Right on, bro, he says. Right on. Anyway, maybe I should leave and let you get on with your day. And I'm ambivalent. He's like, oh, you are now? It's like, you don't want me to hang out, or you do? You know, it's like, you're really emphasizing that now, aren't you, buddy? Just noticing the coincidence. Like, okay. I'm just yanking your chain. So what I will say, I'm curious to do this, is that I did a previous video to this one, and if it, never mind. He's like, yeah, man, I'm kind of nudging you to do this just a little bit longer. I know you're tired. You want to do other things. That's cool. You want to see your puppy dog, he says. You want to bring him back downstairs. I get it. But this will sound weird if you've never seen my content before, to the person that just came, and now there's two of you, and you didn't see the previous one or anything else in this theme. But I'm a medium. I've mostly channeled my own loved ones, occasionally other people's, and I just did a video where a soul was pretty present and details were unfolding, and somebody put a comment. It was a row of emojis that I still haven't completely figured out, but it seemed like they commented. It seemed positive. They seemed thankful. There was somebody that was two came in almost at the same time. One still here, the other one left, whatever. And I don't know if it's the person that was here before or not until you comment. But I will say that they stayed for almost 15, 30 minutes as I was channeling. And about midway through that, they put the comment. And it seemed like it resonated. So the viewer just left, and I was just going to wrap up and saying that. So aside from already knowing that I have this skill, I feel like that did validate it. And I was going to see if you wanted me to channel for you, but nobody, they left. So he gets up, he puts his hands both hands in his pockets for a moment and says, well, bro, nice job. Nice chatting. And I was like, yeah, rub that stuff in before you shake my hand. I just put lotion on. I love his humor. I love his free spirit. We obviously resonate with, having had some struggles in life. Oh, that's so nice of you. He just says to me, but you've got a very powerful ability and a gift, man. And I hope it brings you success and lots of people healing. And he says, yeah, there are other people who do what you do, but you do it your way. And that's cool. He says, I don't know if it's because you were channeling or what, but you do have a real high energy. Of course, so do I. But, of course, between my own energy and yours, I'm a little tired. How about you, bro? You tired? Yeah, I am. No offense. Hey, I understand, he says. And he says, I want to say one more message for your viewers, if I can. I mean, sure. And then I'll let you go about your day. So for the person that just tuned in, if you don't know what's going on and you left, so whatever, it's like, exactly. You know what? You're always going to have things to say, and either he came back, somebody else came back. You're always going to have things to say, and he says, and things to relay, And that's wonderful, he says. But if somebody doesn't want to hear you out, you don't have to go on about that. You don't have to give them the attention that they aren't giving you in those moments. He says, like, talk about what you want to talk about, forget them. And if they come back and they want to be there, great. And if they come back and they want to make themselves known by putting comments, great. You just do you. Worry about you and what you can bring to it. This is very interesting. This guy who I'm channeling, who I believe is named Marcus or DeMarcus, but not one I knew prior, is he's actually quite chatty. He's actually saying that he had similar abilities, and the viewer left, as I said, that I think, similar abilities where he could sense things, and he said for a while it creeped him out. He said, but maybe that was also, certain media that's out there, as you know, he says. But he says it's not like that. And he says he worried about judgments. So he didn't really tell much of his friends. He says it was just, interestingly, not speaking already, I think. He says it was really mostly glimmers. He says it wasn't something that he spent a lot of time with. But when he was by himself, he kind of let himself be a bit more open to it. He says, I only made one short video once about it, and then I got embarrassed and stopped, he said. And he says, you're very brave. He says, you're very brave, bro. He says, because not only because he just visited me, but he says he has experienced since he's passed, but before he's passed as well, to some small level, the ability to channel like this and being very attuned and very aware. And he says, so he knows it's real. And he says, the sooner more people open up to how real it can be, the more that they will heal their wounds. The more they will be able to live in some ways. Although I had a vision of me going to a grief group soon, aside from the other energies I might pick up there. If I didn't have this ability, I wouldn't, even if sometimes they seem vague, I wouldn't have all these accumulated experiences that I've had with the ability, some of them fairly recently. And it would sit different, right? He just sat back down and joked, "You mean like this?" Or he just sat in a funny way and said, "You sit different like this?" It's not very often that I get this kind of company through the day. And sometimes I'm not even feeling spiritual, and I don't know how I get through those days. He says, but you do. You do. Right on, bro. I'll show us to Michelle at some point. He's like, oh, he's taking off his socks, smelly feet. The dog knows I'm home, obviously. I have a hang dog. He's coming back too. TMI? Sorry. Put those pieces easy. This guy is so freaking cool. And he it's like he wants to go, he wants to leave me to my day, he wants to go, but he doesn't. And I don't have anybody, viewing right now or anything. Like this is, and he said something that I thought was a little bit funny. He says, "You see, you're slowing down, you're breathing, you're coming to your center." He says, "I like that. That's good to see. Not that I don't. And sometimes I'm feeling so passionate and so fueled." He says, "I get it." He says, but he says, "I like that." In fact, he I thought I heard this earlier, and I don't know if I'm just thinking of relaying it now, but it's like, you can say it. You heard it. Even though we aren't super familiar with each other, he said something to the effect of, that's something I like about you, or that's always something I liked about you, or something like that. I've always liked that in you, or something like that. And then he's kind of kind of laughing. I've been channeling the soul of someone I didn't know, Virla. You know what? This shouldn't be bothered when I'm not saying the name or anything when I say that, but you know what? And I've been laughing it off. He says new approach is just to ignore them. You know, thankfully they're not doing anything, ruder than that, but it's not exactly polite. It's like, people are people, bro. But I said something about having his ironic, but having his grandmother to thank. I don't know if she's living or not, and most people have at least two. Sometimes they have like a god, or like a step grandparent or whatever. I don't know. Um, yeah, he says maybe I'll tell you more about her some other time, and maybe you'll get to meet her. But he says he felt a pull from a push from his grandmother to connect with me. Um, Interestingly, and then now this usually I can tell, but I honestly I'm tired kind of, and I honestly don't know if I can. But I sense like he's saying that he is from Canada. I am, or if he's just saying I was pushed to Canada to talk to you. Pushed to Canada. Write it, bro. Write it. Man, I don't feel it too often these days. It's interesting. Certainly an interesting title. That would probably get people that don't know the backstory wondering. Um, it could be taken many different ways. Do you believe in the afterlife? It's a good segue. In a cartoon voice, that would probably work. Probably won't. But the name is Bear, and he has 3 friends. So one came in, and then 2 people came. I was thinking of wrapping up, but now 2 people are here. So let's see. Capella, which is like a cappella. Still considered human for now. Soon Pro Max Human. That's a sign, I think, right there. And you see, I'm open to seeing these things, right? So I it'd be funny if it said I don't know, NBA, but that's what would the N, not M. Still considered him for now, but then he passed away, right? Um, sorry, we do have someone there. I was just noticing, but yeah. So basically, the person that just tuned in that may or may not know, and if you do, I'm sorry I'm repeating it. You know, if you quickly sent through, you left, sort of. Says you're getting good at that, bro. Oh, but you came back, or somebody's here. So, and I feel one thing that is worth doing, whether I make it super obvious, although sometimes it is good in case it is someone who's already been here and it seems repetitive, is to kind of say what's happening. Now, I really was going to try and keep this under an hour, but what's happening is I've just channeled a really cool. I also feel like I'm getting interrupted when I do that. It's like, well, oh, but if someone came back or someone new here. Really cool guy, and if that kept happening, I mean, I think it's them, and it wouldn't bother me really. But I guess a really cool guy that that is now an angel, and it's a hard topic. It is. It's a hard topic of how they died, but death is always hard, even as a medium. You know, and I'm seeing, and but he has had such a fun personality, such a caring personality, and my guitar is upstairs, I believe. Yeah, there might be one down here, and there's the piano down here. And I'm tempted to do it, but I'm also tempted to make it its own video, but I'm also thinking I could do both, perhaps. And that time they stayed for about 2 minutes, or whoever it is. I don't know. It seems to be flashing fairly actively, but now not for about 3 minutes. Well, a minute going on 2. Says I can tell you guys are musicians. And I love that title. And it is uniquely ours. So why not do it? I can't understand what to make of this post. In my eyes, I keep looking up, and my eyes go back. Oh, there's something there. No, I can't be what's actually happening. And yeah, actually, I don't want to be sounding like a broken record, but I don't know if it's someone who's already been here. That's the thing. I am thinking of winding this video up soon. Really trying to keep it under an hour. Let's just stay tuned for that. And as tired as I am, as much as I want to do other stuff, I'm curious what could come of this song idea. What I might do and sure, I sensed that he was black. But I know, just as well as anybody else should know, that people of any background can do rap. But I'm sensing that he does like rap. And he may have been a rapper. like not big name necessarily, but and I'm sensing he wants me to put a little rap in it. He wants to see if I can rap, and he says, "I mean, do you do a lot of rap?" And no, I don't do much of it. I mean, I don't hate it, but so stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. I think I'll do it some other time though. So.